Good afternoon and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View. Well, I told you that defence was Brendan Rodgers. Dyson with death. Ultimately, the scoreline was 5-2. And it was pretty emphatic come the end. But it wasn't that easy. It wasn't an easy game. First half, we go in 2-1 behind at half time. And let's say they were fully deserved of their 2-1 lead. I did say that they would hit on the break, and a few people on the channel said Celtic would be 3 goals up by the time that they hit us on the break. Wasn't the case. They hit us early on in the game. They did hit us early on in the game. They scored within 11 minutes. To be fair, James Forrest should have had a goal in the first couple of minutes of the game. He puts it. I think he just puts it wide. The keeper gets it, if I remember. Adam Ida comes good again and gets a couple of goals. And what about Nico Kuhn? Super sub Nico Kuhn. Nico Kuhn's a player that he's just going from strength to strength. Since we brought him in January, remember, we did only bring him in January, and he wasn't 100% fit when he joined Celtic. He had some health issues, but I'll tell you one thing, we are saying the player who does have a bloody nose after that game. The draw for the next round of the Cup, we're back to Hampden, where the manager has never lost the game. Yes, the manager has never lost the game, but let's jump into the comment section first of all to see what we have to say. Couldn't take a bow, son. Liam Miles first up, wasn't an easy job. I knew it'd be a test, but Jesus, says Desmond Donnelly. Hi Baz, Brendan just found out the players he can rely on and for an effective rotation. And he also found out that Lewis Palmer is pish. Let's talk about Lewis Palmer. Let's do a little quick poll on that one. Let me just... and Celtic TV's cut off already, and I was wanting to get the draw. Let me just get this because I need to get the draw now. Ask a question. As I go straight in with the poll, straight off early on. Do you rate Lewis Palmer? Because he's getting chance, and he just does not seem to do it for Celtic. He was hauled off for Kuhn, who's a far better player. Nico Kuhn is a far better player. And this will split fans, because some people will think that Lewis Palmer is a fantastic player. He had the chance to pass, and again, he's too ball greedy for me. It gets... Nico Kuhn's far better. It's as simple as that. Falkirk are a decent side. We need Kuhn. Yes, we are that. Hill Baz, Celtic fans. Premier Sports draw not done yet. I know I was watching Celtic TV and it's come off, and I'm not even going to try and look for Premier Sports. So... well played Falkirk. Yes, well played Falkirk. And where's Paul Baird? Because Paul Baird says that I said that Falkirk would come out and have a chance. They would try and hit us on the break. They hit us on the break. Hit us fantastically on the break. You've got to say, the first half, they put pressure. They played 2 up front. They put pressure on the Celtic back 2. I did say, was it a roll of the dice too far for Brendan Rodgers, making wholesale changes in the defence? Alex Valley had a good game, and I don't think he did too much wrong. He did fantastic for the header that he helped produce the first goal for Celtic. Other than that, he didn't do too much wrong. When you look at other people that were in the back line, Trusty, he's just finding his feet. I think him and Liam Scales need to play longer together to form a partnership like we do have with the one and only Cameron Carter-Vickers. It shows you that Cameron Carter-Vickers is the main man at the back of the defence, when we don't have Cameron Carter-Vickers, we struggle. We do struggle. And then there's Tony Ralston. Tony Ralston, who took a bad one towards the end of the game. Let's hope that he's all right. But Tony Ralston's what you'd call a job's worth. He comes in and he does his job and he gets it done. And, you know, he's reliable, but at the same time, he's not top class, is he? He's not top class. Let's jump into the comments. Hail, close one. New deal for Taylor. Essential. Absolutely essential. I hope we draw the zombies. Couldn't take a bow, son. Yep. Hail, Baz. Told you it would be a hard game. Yep. Falkirk played well. They did that. DJ GTX says, well done, the team. It was a hard game. We need to give up on Palmer. He's pish. Says, ciao, Pal. Big Trusty also, thumbs up. Hail, folks. All right, Baz. Lots to say on today. We'll get them in the comments and we'll get them read out. We'll read out as much of the comments as possible over the next 45 minutes or so. Taylor's the man. Valley isn't taking his shirt anytime soon. You've got to give Alex Valley a game or two to get into it. No player ever comes on and has a fantastic game when it's a hard game like that to come on to. I thought he was reasonably good. He didn't put too much of a foot wrong, and he's a younger player. He is a younger player. We put pressure on our own homegrown talent that are at the same age as him, but we expect foreign internationals to be a cut above the rest, and we expect them to be better. I thought that that team was a bit too many changes at the one time, I'll have to admit. Schmeichel didn't have a chance with any of the two goals. Ralston, Welsh, Trusty and Valley at the back, I thought was a big risk, and I said that in the live before the game. I thought, but when you've got a midfield in McGregor, Bernardo and Hatate, now I wanted to see Hatate not even start the game because I want to see Paulo Bernardo and the one and only Arne Engel. Now Arne Engel didn't do too much. Arne Engels didn't do too much in the game wrong when he came on, but you've got to say Forrest, the man that's been at Celtic for over 500 games and 15 seasons, is the man that was still on the pitch at the end. Let's see how the poll is doing. There's been 75 votes so far. Make sure that you do vote on the poll. Do you rate Louis Palmer? 32% say yes, and no say 69%. It's just changed from 31 to 69%. So everything went downhill in the first half. Why did the players not play the way that we've been playing all season in the first half? Why weren't we doubling up on players? Why weren't we closing players down together? Why did everything that's been good about Celtic, the first 6 games in the league, 5 games, 6 games of the league or whatever it is, the Champions League game, why did everything that was good about Celtic disappear in this game? Now, a change of personnel should not have brought about wholesale panic in the Celtic ranks. It should not have brought about wholesale panic. They should have been playing the exact same. They play the exact same way in training. The players know the system. But it would have been interesting to get Brendan Rodgers talk, but Celtic TV has done and gone already, which is a shame. Vine needs another few games to decide. Falkirk wouldn't have got 5 past the Huns. Falkirk would have got 5 past the Huns. Valley needs put minutes in. Definitely a good player in there. Yeah, he is that. What was Hatate doing for the free kick? Don't even talk about Hatate. Welsh and Palmer were rotten. Big Ida showed what he can do when he gets a decent number of players on him. Trusty looks rusty. He does that, and he needs games. This is why that's why they were brought in for the start. They need the games. Lorna Gallagher's in the house. Hey Baz, good game, but need the subs because too many injured players playing sloppy or just okay. Not a big problem when there's only one change, but it didn't work out today. Glad that the right subs came on. said Big Chewy. You're spot on there. You're spot on there. We're glad that we had those people on the subs bench, and the manager didn't go through wholesale resting of players and bringing on a lot of the youth players. And that probably says because we don't have the youth players that are ready to step up to the first team. Now, what it does tell us, Lewis Palmer can shout and sing all he wants, and his international manager can shout and sing all he wants about lack of game time, but he was given another opportunity today on the wing, and he didn't cut it again. He just didn't cut it again for me, which is a shame, because I want Lewis Palmer to do really well. I want him to do really well. But does he have to improve his fitness? Does he have to just knuckle down in the gym and concentrate on his upper body so that he can, I don't know, there's something just not there with Palmer, and it's a bit disheartening. Because the 8 changes combined were not good enough to play like the first team. Wex 1888, these players play in training with the first team. They know the formation. Brendan Rodgers mixes it up in training so that everyone knows exactly how you should play in that position. They know exactly how we close teams down. They know how people double up on players in the opponent's half so that we don't let them get out. Today, we didn't do that. We didn't do it at all. It's as if we were caught with rabbits in the headlights in the first half. And it was listen, if the James Forrest goal goes in, it's maybe a different story altogether. Or would it have been? Would it have been? Tell me your thoughts in the comments. We missed the Courier team. Jumped ship again, Carly. John. I'm sure Brendan Rodgers seen our failings today and will bring in some harsh words when they watch the game back. I don't think it was harsh reality. I think it's some people and some players think they're better than what they are. And I'll say it's the foreign guys. You know what you're going to get from Tony Ralston. You know what you're going to get from him all day long. You know what you're going to get from Stephen Welsh. We know Stephen Welsh's capabilities are thereabout. We know the standard of player he is. But there's players like Louis Palmer that have been brought into Celtic to make us better. And again, he didn't do that. The fact that James Forrest was still on at the end of the game, was fantastic. Thank goodness that the scoreline was what it was. Thank goodness it was 5-2, and we didn't rest on our laurels. The ultimate quality of the Celtic team shone through when Brendan Rodgers made the changes. When you look at it, Paulo Bernardo, Alex Bally, his header down to Paulo Bernardo and in the first half was sublime. It was fantastic. You know, that header down so that Paulo Bernardo could take the shot for the edge of the box was absolutely brilliant. I'm not going to fault the young guy for that. He is a young player that is just finding his feet at Celtic. It's his first game. He probably would have been nervous because it's his first game at Celtic Park and there was a lot of weight on his shoulders to prove that he's better than Greg Taylor. People will say, nah, he's not better than Greg Taylor, don't play him. But the fact is that we went in 2-1 behind in the first half, which would have rattled the manager, and it would have been interesting to see exactly what the manager said to these players at half time. Now, when you look at the stats, Celtic had 16 shots. They had 10 shots on target. The possession was 63%, and it's not got the passes in that yet. That should just update now. No, it's not updated it. There was 13 fouls for Celtic, and there was 10 corners. They were caught offside twice. And there was the one red card for the Falkirk player just at the end. And you've got to say it was deserving. I mean, he was maybe going for the ball, but you can't have your foot that high and almost take Tony Ralston's nuts off him. That's for sure. So Palmer never takes his chance. You should be showing the door, says Big Dom. That's harsh. That's harsh. I wouldn't say you should be showing the door just yet. Right, tell me the draw in the comment section because I've not got Premier Sports on the TV. So here we missed Cameron Carter-Vickers. We did that. Well done, the Bairns. First half, 8 changes to a winning team. Brendan avoided banana skin and awkward questions at full time. Yeah, I think Brendan was safe in the knowledge that the players that we had on the bench, if people weren't performing and ultimately the result wasn't going the right way, we had players on the bench that you could bring on that you knew could ultimately change the game. There was players that were given their opportunity today to stake a place for the first team, and let's be fair, they're bench warmers. Tony Ralston is a bench warmer. Stephen Welsh is a bench warmer. When you look at Nico Kuhn coming on and did what Nico Kuhn did, was absolutely fantastic. Palmer's a bench warmer. He's not even an impact player. He's just not taking his chances. There's something missing from the game. And when you think that Gavin Strachan works with the wingers at Celtic, and there's something just not clicking with Lewis Palmer. Adam Ida didn't do too much wrong throughout the game. Scored a couple of cracking goals. Absolutely over the moon for him. And James Forrest just does what James Forrest does. And I was so wanting James Forrest to score that goal right at the beginning of the game. I think that would have been the icing on the cake if James Forrest did manage to score the goal. The goal scorers were obviously Nico Kuhn comes on and he sets up Adam Ida. And I've got to say, for the Nico Kuhn goal, we need to talk about this. For the Nico Kuhn goal, what about the footwork from Big Adam Ida? You need to watch the footwork from Big Adam Ida because he flicks it and he does all sorts, and you're like, here you go, big man. That's a player that knows that he's got the quality and that he's brimming in confidence. But what does it say about Kyogo? Does he keep Kyogo at the team? Let's get rid of this poll about that useless. Pretty emphatic that 63% of the people that have been on, 129 votes. 63% say that Lewis Palmer's shite. It's pretty much. Let's start another poll. Let me just see this. I'll just see. This is an interesting one because they've both been scoring goals. Should Adam Ida keep his place in the team over Kyogo Furuhashi? Should Adam Ida keep his place in the team over Kyogo Furuhashi? People saying that he's not. Aberdeen next to the cup. Palmer should have went to Sevco. Aberdeen play Aberdeen at Hampden. That should be an interesting game. That should be an interesting game. Aberdeen, we've done it before. Done it before. Panic Stations. Panic Station says, oh, young. Well, let's jump back into the comment section now, but I have asked the question in the poll. Should Adam Ida keep his place in the team over Kyogo? And should Kyogo take a little spell on the bench and come on as an impact player to score goals for Celtic? Tell me your thoughts about that in the comment section. Also, Adam Ida did score 2 goals this afternoon. He scored one that was an absolute tap-in, and he scored another where he had to get past a player, a couple of players, and then he got past 2 players into the box and put it past the keeper on the 72nd minute. He scored the first one in the 70th minute, which was a fantastic ball from Kuhn. And then he scores the second on the 72nd minute, and then Nico Kuhn gets in on the action, scoring on the 81st and 84th minute. But with that being said, and the goal scoring forum that Adam Ida is on, should Adam Ida keep his place in the team over Kyogo Furuhashi? And that will be interesting. Because next up we have St Johnstone. We do have St Johnstone next up, away to St Johnstone. So would you play Adam Ida, and then you've got Dortmund away, and this Ross County away. So we're away the next 3 games. Those 3 games are difficult games. At St Johnstone, we always get it over the line, but we sometimes struggle at St Johnstone. Dortmund, well, we don't know what's in line with Dortmund, but I would definitely start Big Adam Ida for that. And then Ross County away, you've got to remember, it wasn't so long ago that we had to score in the last minute almost of a game with Tony Ralston 3 seasons ago to basically, he made sure that we won the league. That was the goal that helped us win the league. It is a hard place to go up at Ross County. So we've got 3 away games coming up. Would you let Adam Ida keep his place in the team over Kyogo Furuhashi? We're going to keep this going as long as, so if you're just jumping on, make sure that you jump onto the poll and vote, because it's an interesting one. Yes are saying 55%, no are saying 45%. No saying 45%. I think that would probably change on week as we get to those games. Palma's better staying in Spain, Baz. All the best, Stephen says that. He doesn't come from Spain, and I don't think Luis Palma wouldn't even get. He would get a second division team in Spain. I don't think anybody in La Liga would come for Luis Palma. European team needed to play against Aberdeen. Pole City, says Rambo. It is Pole City. You love a poll on this one. It's never a good idea to rest your entire first team defence. Thankfully, we'd had enough firepower to get out of jail, says Jack. Palma's a poser, says Carly. Absolutely, we need to play the strongest team possible against Aberdeen. Paul, will O have a cheeseburger or not? Said Mark. No, we're not doing that, Paul. I am Gordon Feeney from Canada. On this chat as John Todd. My uncle was a Tim for birth, like most of us all. There you go, John Todd. Who's got an alias on YouTube. Big Dom says if players continuously fail to take their chances, they should be moved on. People hit thumbs up, says Chilpel. Well, there's one player that we moved on this summer that Brendan Rodgers didn't really want to lose, and that was the one and only Mikey Johnston. That's what we should do. Is Mikey Johnston better than Louis Palma? Maybe that should have been the question that we asked earlier on. But listen, Mikey Johnston's away, so there's no use even talking about him. Aberdeen are next up in the Cup. Ida just showed why we paid the money for him. Yes, he did that this afternoon. Both strikers should get 45 minutes each. Trusty as pish, says Chilpel. Dortmund are 2-0 down. Oh, let's not hope they don't get that the week before they play us then. Rusty Trusty, get Rusty Trusty to fuck. Nice to have opinions, eh? Yeah, well, it's all about having opinions, and that's why it's good about this channel, because we try to get as many as the one Celtic fans views point over on the comments. Ida's taking the chance, and he's been handed, grabbing it by the balls. He has that. Stuttgart are a good team. They give Real Madrid a run for the money. No bad as I meant, tongue in cheek. Los Palma. Los Palma. Yeah, I know. I wouldn't have him in Spain. Nico Kuhn made a difference. Nico Kuhn is absolutely he. Hatate should be benched for Bernardo to start ahead. Yes, I said before the game, that's your brother. There you go. He's our man in Toronto. Perfect. Let's get him on. Let's get him on. Gale should keep his place as first choice. Ida is backup all day long. Even though Adam Ida scored, look at the way that Adam Ida scored that goal. in open play today versus the chances that Kyogo missed in open goal over the last couple of weeks. It's all about taking your chances. And right now, Adam Ida's taking his chances. You can't knock him for getting that, taking it by the, I just think that when you've got two strikers that are equally as good as each other, I think that you have to go with the one that is currently in form. And I would say that right now that Adam Ida is the one in form. So I personally, over the next 3 away games, I would start Adam Ida. Definitely going into Dortmund, and maybe not St Johnson. I'd maybe give Kyogo the St Johnson game, but I would revert. When we go to Dortmund, you need a big striker in there to bully about. I don't think that, even the Kyogo's got the pace. Adam Ida showed today that he's got the pace to get past some players and into the box, and you're going to say, okay, it was Falkirk, but Falkirk are a team that look as if they're ready for the SPFL. I think if they win the league this season and come straight up, they look a team that will slip right into the SPFL, and I don't think that they would be a one-hit wonder either. I think that they'll spend a few years up if they do manage to get up this season. And then we head to Ross County. I think that the Ross County game away is always a hard game, and that is, again, I would say that's another game for Adam Ida. But it's only my personal choice. It is only my personal choice, and I just think that's why we talk about it. Let's see, here in Heavy, Bernardo over Hatate, always. Was Palmer on the park today? Yes, he was. Can't judge a player after one game. Larson was shit in his first game. Palmer would not get in the Falkirk team, not even make the bench. I've saw enough, says Carly. Is she off? See you later. Huns thought that we had the cup in the bag. The Huns thought they had the cup in the bag, says Carly, there for 50 minutes. I don't know. Welsh looked well below par, but hopefully it's just a wake-up call. I don't know if Welsh looked below par, or if it's just we know the standard of football that you're going to get for Welsh. The toughest 60 minutes I've had to watch this season, says Ian. I did warn you before the game. I said to everyone before the game, look, this will be a hard watch today. It's not going to be a rampant game because of all the changes. But I was just joined the chat and couldn't done more than 12 minutes. Couldn't done more in 12 minutes than a lot of the players did for the majority of the game. Kuhn is absolutely a fantastic player. But when you look at the fact that for that 60 minutes, I did say it'd be a tough game. People on the chat said, look, the time that they hit us on their counter-attack, we'll be 3-0 up. And I didn't think that. I thought the way that when I seen the team that Celtic put out, I did say, if you're going to target anyone, target that left back, target Trusty, target the left back, because they're in a game of Scottish football. Do you know, this is a cup game in Scottish football. This isn't your internationals, it's not the Champions League. You know, we're playing, it's rough and tumble football. It didn't turn out to be rough and tumble football, it turned out to be a bit better. But let's face it, once Falkirk got their 2 goals, all they were going to do was sit back and try and soak it up and try and hit us on the break again. And I've got to be fair, Falkirk's done really, really well. Brendan Rodgers is saying it's their fault they were shite for 60 minutes because he made the changes. It's his fault. Well, Brendan Rodgers is right. It is his fault. He made so many changes. And at least Brendan Rodgers has got the balls to stand up and say, it's my fault. Do you know, I made too many changes. That's a good manager. It's a good manager that does that. Too many managers could turn around and say the players were given their chance and they've not taken the opportunity. That's what a manager could say, but Brendan Rodgers doesn't want to throw his players under the bus. Brendan Rodgers is standing up and taking the blame, which is fantastic. It should be applauded. There's far too many managers in the modern game that would throw these players under the bus and say, nah, they're not good enough. They're not good enough. But Brendan Rodgers has said, it's my fault. If he has said that, Andrew, I mean, that's fantastic. I think it's brilliant. I think it's brilliant that the manager's got the balls to come out and do that. It's my fault. I made too many changes. I threw the dice and I didn't get the roll of the dice that I wanted. Far too many managers would just go, nah, these players have had their opportunity, they were given a chance and they just haven't lived up to expectations. throwing them under the bus and let them then suffer with that for the next week or so. Should Adam Idah keep his place in the team over Kyogo is the question that has been asked on the poll. 114 have voted so far. 56% say yes and 44% say no. It's interesting that Brendan Rodgers is saying that. The draw's over. Celtic got the sheep. Yeah, we know that. Yang, Palma all day long. Yang over Palma all day long. Just watch the Dortmund highlights. We can definitely score over there. Idah is a proper player and he's not afraid to show it. Hence the question that I'm asking. Should Adam Idah keep his position in the team, especially going into these away games? This is supposed to be the games where the fringe players impress. Too many were depressed. Says Tank supporter Glasgow. Teams all around the country and even in the English Premiership and other leagues around Europe always put in, when it's the League Cup, they always put in a youthful team. They always put in players that aren't in and around the first team on a weekly basis, that aren't playing anyway. They'll put in the subs and that. So Brendan Rodgers was quite right to do what he did today. Let's not knock the manager for doing what he did. He thought that the players would be good enough, but they weren't. He has admitted that it was his fault for making too many choices, when the only people that remained on the pitch from the starting game was Schmeichel, Hatate, Forrest and Kalmak. That's the only players that retained their position. There was a lot of... I mean, if that was a top level team, we would have got annihilated in the first half. As soon as Welsh was on the bench, I mean, everyone was saying it at the beginning of the night. So anyway, it is what it is. We got through. We won the game 5-2. On paper, it would look as if it was a comfortable win. But ultimately, we all know it was not a comfortable win. And it wasn't a very comfortable watch the first 45 minutes, to be said the least. Which I'm fine with. Do you know what? At least we won. In a bygone era and bygone times, Celtic would have lost that game today. And the fact that Celtic last lost to Falkirk in 1997 in Celtic Park tells you a lot about how we played back then. And I think a lesser manager would have got beat today. Let's be honest. Would he have made the changes as quick as he did? Would he have made the bench as strong? I'm just glad that we did make the bench as strong as what we did. Because if we had put a load of young boys on the bench, my goodness, we would have struggled. Falkirk are due some credit. They are due loads of credit. At least they came here and made it competitive. Like any cup should be. I think Falkirk are going to be a great team that if they get up to the SPFL next season, they're not going to be one of these teams that will sit back for the majority of 90 minutes. Although they did sit back when they were in the lead, which because Celtic were pushing them back, let's be fair, but they didn't sit back the whole game. They did come and have a go. How big was Taylor getting that team moving the second half? His contract needs sorted out as he's a future captain there. Yes, I saw that as well. There was at one point where Taylor was in between Trusty and who the fuck was in? Who was in the middle with? Trusty and Welsh. That was it. Trusty and Welsh, and he was pushing them, edging them forward, and they were halfway up the pitch. They were almost at the halfway line, but he's telling them to move forward. So I mean, that's a player that knows the system. He knows what's meant to happen. So maybe there was too many changes. Maybe you should only make one or two changes a game. But Brendan Rodgers has learned his lesson. And I can tell you one thing. When we go to play Aberdeen at Hampden in the next round, there is absolutely no chance that Brendan Rodgers will put in as many players that do not play on a week-to-week basis. Mad Mac says Brendan had to try this match with changing the players. We have to see them how they play exactly. Just jumped through a whole load. You need a community connections. Fringe players all playing together isn't fair on anyone. No, it's not, John Paul. Wouldn't blame Brendan. He will protect our players from the shite media. They'll throw at him. Look, at the end of the day, we won 5-2, and that's all that Brendan needs to go in. He needs to go in and say, do you know what? It's a squad game. The modern day is a squad game. you don't have players. We don't have the luxury of being able to just buy in young players and leave them sitting and festering. The modern game doesn't go like that. You can't. I mean, we've seen it, how many players have been unhappy at the fact that they're not getting game time. Mikey Johnson, to say one, he wants to play first team football. He left Celtic. All the best to him. A lot of people said that he should have left Celtic years ago. But the modern day player wants to play at least some part. They want to know that if it's going to be cup games that they're going to get a run in, they're going to get a run in the cup games. If they're going to be brought on a sub on the 70th minute, on a regular basis, and to try and force their way into the team and take their chance, they're happy with that. But then you've got people like Louis Palmer who are complaining about it back in his home country, and he's got other people complaining about it on his behalf, who just doesn't seem to turn up when he's given that chance. Falkirk deserve massive, massive credit for the way that the game was played in the first 60 minutes, and massive credit for the way that they pointed. Disappointed we didn't get the hands. Plenty of time for that, Michael Ross. Falcon Roof said, saved themselves the awkward question, because if the first half was different, dropping them from Handham is going to be a sore head for Brendan. I don't think it's going to be a sore head for Brendan. The players that didn't live up to expectations in the first half will know that when we go to Hampden, we need every single player that's at the top of their game. And unfortunately, the likes of Tony Ralston, he's going to drop out of the team. You know, the likes of Welsh, he'll drop back out of the team. Alex Valley, he'll drop out of the team. The big question in the midfield is how long can the manager keep Bernardo and Arnie Engels apart? How long can he keep them apart in that first team? Because those two are the players that turn it on. Rio Hatate, for as good as good as Rio Hatate is, I just sometimes think that you have two players that you can see a little bit of a connection with that can dominate a midfield. And with Callum McGregor sitting just behind those two and those two going forward, I think it gives us a fantastic chance. The big one that Brendan will have going into the game at Hampden is ultimately, does Adam Ida keep his place? Does Adam Ida keep his place for that one? Because he's the man that is that's obviously been given the nod for this competition. He's obviously been told that, look, you're going to play in cup competitions more. We're going to utilise you in the cup competitions. And Adams went, fine, that's fine. Let's get a run to Hampden. Let's get a run to the final, boss. I'm right up for that. I'm up for winning some trophies. Of course he would be. And Adam Ida, he throws his weight about. He's got some fantastic footwork once he gets in the mood. And he scored a couple of cracking goals today again. Anyway, have you noticed anything? Have you noticed anything that have changed? Yes, I managed to get rid of the blue numbers for you. Just watch most intellectual and fascinating Celtic podcast in the world. Drink along. My brain hurts. Drink along. My God, Michael Ross, you didn't watch Kaiser for 2 hours. Oh my Jesus. That's why I don't do them. I've just got to leave Kaiser and that to do them. Fair play to them. Anglin Ayrshire, Hatate plays when he can be arsed. I'm sick of him, says Carly. Anglin Ayrshire says, needs to be Engels and Bernardo in front of Calmac all day long. I've been saying that since Engels came in. I'd love to see these two get a solid run in the team. I'm going to say it, Scales and Cameron Carter-Vickers are possibly the best centre-back partnership there has been in nearly 20 years. Now that's a big disrespect to the one and only player that chased his missus to Spain. Carroll never lost a game when him and Carter-Vickers played together. Carl Starfelt never lost a game. Not one game. But anyway, Welsh isn't good enough. We know that. Carly, for the whole first half, we're hand over head. Baz, love them trophies and the numbers in green, says JJB. And we'll have to update those numbers, hopefully, in just a short couple of months' time. Hopefully one of them will change from 21 to 22. And then hopefully the Scottish Cup will also change this season. And we'll hopefully that change to 43. And then ultimately, The SPFL trophy. Yes, the amount of times that Celtic have won the trophy as champions of Scotland will change to that coveted number. 55s are coming. Choo choo. And then we've got the big cup that we've won, because it's always important to remind a club from across the road, the Zombies, that they died chasing what we achieved, and that's why that is there. That's why it's there. And people are saying, but you've left out so many cups. Well, they'll be going along the whole bottom of the screen, right along here. We'll be going right along here, all the cups that we'd won over the years. And maybe we should do that. I jest. No, maybe we shouldn't. Anyway, let's jump back in. The 55 is real. Baz is going for 55. We're all going for 55. And I tell you one thing, when we get near Christmas, we're only a couple of months away for Christmas now. We're almost at the end of September. And now that this cup game is over and we revert back to league form and we think back to league games, the up-and-coming games for Celtic are going to be unbelievable in October. And before the end of this month, we obviously have the game against St Johnstone. St Johnstone away on the 28th of September next weekend. Next Saturday, it's a 5:45 kick-off in Scotland, whilst it's a 6:45 kick-off here in Spain. And I've got to go to the airport at 9 o'clock. Again. Hey. Anyway, and the game after that is on match day 2 of the Champions League. Oh, and whilst we remember, and whilst we talk about the Champions League, let's just remember ourselves on its move. There it is. And Celtic are still second. Yes, we are second in the Champions League. Let's just remind ourselves of that. And to tell all the Huds you know that we're second in the Champions League, you know. We are still second in the Champions League under Bayern Munich, and then Leverkusen. We've got a couple of Germans, and then is Aston Villa. And Aston Villa is going to be some game. But yes, we are still in the Champions League, and we've still got a really good position in the Champions League, and a good number of goals for. We're currently sitting at the goal difference is +4, which will be important come the end of the Champions League. I need to just move that back up to there. Anyway, we'll switch that back off this now. But that is just a reminder that's why we have the big cup there, because we have won it. And we play Dortmund away, and that'll be an 8 o'clock kick-off in the UK in Celtic Park time, and it'll be a 9 o'clock kick-off in the rest of Europe. And that game will take care of itself. It's a massive game on its own. It's a disappointing day for me, that one, because I wanted to go to it, and I got to take my mother to the airport on the Wednesday, and I come back from a dirty weekend away with the missus on the Tuesday. It's a hard life. Anyway, we get into October. When we get into October, we kick on with Ross County. Ross County away on the Sunday, the 6th of October, and then we come back to Celtic Park after a sabbatical on the 19th of October. There is an international break, as always, right in the middle of October. And then we're away again on the 23rd of October. We head to Italy, to Atalanta, the team who aren't as good as what they were last season. Can Celtic get anything from that game? And then we've still another 2 games in October, even though that's on the 23rd of October. We then play away again to Motherwell. We play away to Motherwell. That is on the 27th of October. That is a 3 o'clock kickoff. And then we are back at home for the final game in October, which is Dundee at home to Celtic. Those games, there is massive games. Those games in October will go a long way to determine how far Celtic can be in front before hitting into November and ultimately the busy period of December. Because we all know, as once December is out the way with the league, once December is out the way in the league, it's when Celtic turn up. And by I mean turn up, it's when they turn the screw down and they could see the finishing line in the front of us. Will this be the season that we hit the 55? How many points can we be ahead of the Rangers come the New Year derby? Can we make sure that we're that far out of sight of them that it is only the likes of Aberdeen and such that are chasing our tails? Or will they manage to close the gap? And there is a massive gap. I did ask the question, should Adam Ida keep his place in the team over Kyogo Furiashi over the next few games? There's 192 votes. currently, so make sure that you do get your vote in, because I'm going to close it down when it hits 200. So I need 8 people to vote. Baz and Kaiser streams were electric till Baz left me. I didn't leave you, Kaiser. We've never worked out how to get the new format on this one. We'll get that sorted out. I need to get that sorted out. I've got that much going on work-wise. Maida and Kuhn prove the pace for Dortmund. Yep. Few loose passes from Kalmak today. Is that because I don't know. I think everybody had an off game in the first half. Agree horses for courses, but Kyogo will start before Ida in most games. Interesting. Maida and Kuhn provide the pace for the Dortmund game. Jason's in the house. Stephen Johnson's in the house. Chilpel's life. Kaiser. I think the whole team underestimated Falkirk today. They did. And we were caught with rabbits in the headlines. We can say that we underestimated Falkirk, but we didn't play our own game. Let's face it, we didn't play our own game. We didn't do what we've done since the beginning of the season. We didn't double up on Falkirk players, right, in their half. We never done that for some reason. It was weird. It was like that everything that we've done just went out the window. Start praying our big guns stay fit. Only my lucky pants on for the second half. Valley wasn't great in John's opinion, but it is just his first game at Celtic. I can remember, and this is going back a few years, there was a player that came into Celtic, and I'm sure he came in from, was it Ajax he came from? He came from the Dutch League, and I think it was Ajax, can't remember. And Lustig, Mikael Lustig, and he got absolute pelters. And even Scott Brown said when Lustig came in, he's like, who the fuck's this lanky, long-haired, fucking running streak of pish? Lustig got absolute pelters when he came to Celtic. And what a player Mikael Lustig turned out to be. And he was dreadful when he first came to Celtic. Mikael Lustig was absolutely rank rotten when he first came to Celtic. So you can't say that just because young Alex has had one half of a game, is rank rotten. You can't say that. You've got to look at the past. Afternoon Baz and Hail from Livingston, says Andy Mack. Palmer can go in January as far as Chilpel's concerned. Who really cares, says Falkirk were a good team today. The best Celtic have played this season. Yes, they were. They were organised, which you expected from their manager. They closed us down. They hit on the break that I said they would do. I said they would hit us on the break, and they would target the new guys, because you've got to target them. That's the first thing the manager says when he sees the team. His team talk completely changes. All his tactics, everything that he's thought about all week about the way that Celtic play. As soon as the Falkirk manager sees that team today, the first thing that you do is you get a board out and you go, right, you target him, right? The new Spanish lad, the young Spanish lad, target him. He doesn't know what Scottish football's all about. You target him, and then Trusty, that's new American, target him. In fact, the two strikers push right up on their defenders. You tell the two strikers push right up on their defenders, because their two defenders come up and play wide. And then there's nobody, their wing backs go away up the pitch. So get the two strikers, just push right up and sit right on the front of their defenders and see how they cope with it. And that's what he did. And I'm all for playing 4-4-2. I'm a big fan of playing two strikers up front. We should be doing it ourselves. Valley had a great recovery and pace. The boy needs time. Brown Warrior says he does need time. He's just in the door. Palma is a dud, says Gezabel. Well, you should have seen the poll that I had when we first started the video tonight. If you're just joining us, make sure that you go back and watch the beginning of the video, because it asked the question, do you rate Lewis Palma? And everyone said, nah, he's pish. Some people rated him. Anyway, we're sitting at 218 votes. Should Adam either keep his place in the team over Kyogo? 55% have said yes, and no says 45%. I think we're going to end the poll, get another 2 votes just to get a round number, because we always lose 1% anyway. We'll see if we get another 2 votes in the next minute. So Palmer can go in January, as far as I'm concerned, says Chilpel. Matt says, haven't put this on because I think Kyogo has been less prolific than when he first came. I think so also. And I also say that you have to play the striker that's on form. When you look at Adam Ida's second goal today, he gets past a couple of defenders, he's one-on-one with the keeper, and he puts the ball in the back of the net. Kyogo's done that over previous weeks, and he puts the ball past. He doesn't score. He doesn't score. When you're expecting Kyogo to score, he doesn't score. When he scored the other night, it comes off his hip. So for me, that's the only reason that I'm asking it. For me, you play the guys that are in form and that are doing the little things, and they're doing the little things right. And right now, Kyogo is just not as prolific as he was a couple of seasons ago. Is that down to the way that, you never know? Was his head slightly turned at the last transfer window because he got a brand new agent in just before the transfer window closed? I don't know, you can ask someone else. But anyway, let's close that vote. We're on 233. Close the ball in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. End the poll. And then we'll jump in to the comments. John, who's on holiday. What was the draw trips? Been watching golf. I said, hey, John, I'm not even going to tell you now. Nobody tell John what the... Nobody tell him it was Aberdeen. Up the Celts says Tony. Shu Van Sobe says Palmer has just been shown for being a player that is slower than a week in the jail. We've got Aberdeen John says Stuart Ramsey. 5-2 John. Who won the golf? Kyogo scores in the big games. Top Hunskelper says Gezabel. Did you forget about the cup final? When Adam Ida scored in the cup final. I don't think you get much bigger games than a cup final to score in. And I think that Adam Ida's shown why we paid the money for him. And I personally think that if Adam Ida gets a run in the team, that Kyogo will have to sit on the bench and come on as an impact player for a few games. And I won't say it won't be like that forever, because it won't be. And I think that the manager will know which games to start Kyogo, and he'll know what games to... And it's brilliant. It's brilliant that we've finally got that variation of strikers at Celtic. It's absolutely fantastic that we've got that variation of strikers, where you've got the big striker that can take the rumble and tumble of the big defenders against him, and then you've got Kyogo, who's got that little bit more pace. But I've got to say, the footwork from Adam Ida, make sure that you go back and watch the highlights for the second goal, because not the second goal, the the Nico Kuhn goal, where Nico scores from just outside the box. You'll see the fancy footwork from the one and only Adam Ida. It was absolutely brilliant. Maria says Adam deserves his place at the moment. He does that. Palmer is the worse he plays, the more he laughs. Yes, and I think that's a nervous disposition from him. Yes. Remember, Adam has scored at the dump as well. Yes, he has that. Pep was after Kyogo, not Ida, for a reason. He was after Kyogo to sit on the bench. He was after Kyogo to sit on the bench and play as a winger, not as a striker. He wanted him to play as a winger, not as a striker. And he never came in for him. So there you go. We're in the semis, that's all that matters. Yes, we are that. We've got an itchy semi on the way. James Boy says, I think Ida is better impact player coming off the bench with the opposition tiring. Well, what's wrong with Kyogo doing that? Said that we need the choice of specific strikers for specific defenders, and we have that. Hashtag blesses. Yes, we do. Ida scores when you need a goal to win games. Look at last season and today, says Gion. That is true. Kuhn certainly made the difference today. He's a player that should not lose his position. Kuhn will shine this season, I'm confident, says John Harty. I think that Kuhn, I'm going to call it early on, I think Kuhn could be up there with player of the season this year. I think Kuhn could be up there and round about. I called it last season that I thought Scales would be up there as most improved player of last season. This season I'm going to stick my neck out in September and say I think that Nico Kuhn will be up there around about for player of the season for Celtic. I don't know if he'll be player of the league. I don't know if he'll get player of the season for the league, but he'll be in and around player of the season for Celtic. Generally comes down to goal scorers. If the goal scorers go on fantastic runs, he'll have a run for his money. But if he keeps on scoring and if he keeps on giving assists, people will slowly forget about the assists and goals that Matt O'Reilly gave to the club last season. Kyogo was wasted on the bench today, says Gizabel. Well, I don't. When you look at the scoreline, you wouldn't think so. The Sheep is the hardest draw we could get. Yeah, is that. We still need to hump the Sheep. We do. We still need to hump the Sheep because, let's face it, it is going to be a hard game against them. I'll just see. I mean, Aberdeen are still unbeaten in the league this season, and if that run keeps on going, it's going to be an interesting game come the semi-final. It's going to be an interesting game. It's the quarter-final, isn't it? It's the quarter-final, sorry. And it's going to be interesting come the quarter-final. No, it's the semi-final. Today was the quarter-final. Just, my head's up my arse today. Anyway, yeah, the semi-final. I'll just see. Motherwell. You got to admit, you would have rathered Motherwell, but then again, it could be the same. And listen, we've got to beat whoever we beat in the final. If we get to the final, Aberdeen's going to be a hard enough game, but we've got a lot of games. There's a lot of football to play before that, so let's not get ahead of ourselves. Big bids for Kuhn could come in if he keeps up this form, especially in the Champions League stage. Who really cares? Rephrase the hump in the sheep. Let me just say, at Baz, I can see Dembele and Griffith's scenario unfolding here as Ida's Brendan signing just like Musa. That's interesting. We had two fantastic players then that got rotated on an ongoing basis. So anyway, just running through some of the comments. It's only hard to play us. 2nd November is the semi-final. Jesus. Against the Sheep. 2nd of November. Falkirk manager talked very well after the match and the game, says Kevin. We need to put them in their place behind us this season every game. We'll need our strongest team when we play them. We play Aberdeen before the semi also. That is correct. We do play Aberdeen. When do we play Aberdeen? I said it just a couple of minutes ago. The 19th of October. The 19th of October at Celtic Park. And there it's up. It's now up on the Celtic site also. The 2nd of November. The Scottish Cup semi-final. Aberdeen Celtic. 2nd of November. So November is looking like it's going to be some month for Celtic also. November we start off by playing Aberdeen in the semi-final of the League Cup. We then have Dundee United at home. They then play RP Leipzig at home. They're then away to Kilmarnock, and then Hearts away, and then we have Club Brugge on the 27th, and then the 30th we have Ross County at home. What a month that is. There's a lot of football to be played in November. A lot of football in October and November. 2 massive months that we've got coming up. A lot of really important games. And it's all good as a support. Absolutely fantastic. Right, we've been on the go for... we are sitting at 18,000. You can just see it up there. 18,985. I don't think that if I stayed, we could probably stay on for about another hour. I don't think it would hit that 19,000. So hopefully when we do the live tomorrow night, we'll hit that 19,000. Maybe hit it before then. That was the team of the day. Brendan Rodgers admitted that he made far too many changes to this team this afternoon. And he takes full responsibility for the first half's performance. And just a little reminder for the Huns. We've won that cup. We've won that 54 times. We've won that. 42 times and we've won that. 21 times. 21 times. And that we're trying to win for the 22nd time. Can we? Ooh, it's a hard one. And on that note, let's just jump into the comments before we say goodbye. Paul Baird, when you are a top team, you play a lot of big games. Paul Baird, you said that the time that they come and hit us on the break, that we would be 3-0 up. I told you we wouldn't. Desmond, probably more normal. Many fans do you think the Sheep will bring? They'll probably take quite a bit. They're doing well in the league, so it'll be 50-50 for the stadium. 50-50. Club Bruges getting pumped 4-2 for Ghent the day. That's all good for us. Thanks again, Baz, says Desmond and the troops. Welcome to Toronto. There was a guy coming in from Toronto today. Baz, sing us a song. Kaiser. Nah, not today. Must be the first time in a while I've never sung a song. November is the month to confirm our place in the League Cups. Wow. And Brendan, we trust, and Brendan, we do trust. On that note, have an absolutely fantastic day to all the Celtic fans. And remember, we've won these cups. And that one, the Zombies died trying to. Have a fantastic day, Celtic fans all around the world.